afternoon. My name is Christine Weller, and I'm calling from the corporate offices of Allstate Insurance Company. I'm calling to speak with Mr. Stewart. I'm calling in regard to an email you sent our CEO, Thomas Wilson. If you could give me a call back when you have a moment, I can be reached at area code 5. Interacting with not only our customer service department, but a member of our advocacy team that was responding to your complaint.
No, I didn't get a chance to get your to listen to your voicemail, so I just saw your email.
All right, perfect. Well, that's the reason that I'm calling. So I'm really hoping today to have the opportunity to talk with you about your concerns, and then also ensure that everything has been properly addressed regarding your policy.
Okay.
Okay. So, go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know if you wanted me to fill you in with my experience with LaDonna yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. Or
if you'd like to do that, please do so.
Yeah, my hope is that you all record those phone calls for quality assurance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really would hope that someone would go and listen to that call. And you absolutely will hear my frustration in my voice, because she kept saying to me that I just filed this complaint on the 27th, which would mean that was about 9 days ago. And the truth of the matter is, I've been in the process of moving for the past 2 weeks. I called and first notified Allstate about this error before I even moved. And so that was about a month ago. And so she became increasingly combative. She kept trying to say that we were having a conversation. I said, no, I'm trying to speak and you're trying to talk over me. And then when I asked to speak to a higher up, she just basically kept telling me that there was no one else to speak to. I then called back 2 additional times, well, actually 3 additional times, to the number that she called from. And the switchboard people, 3 different switchboard people, kept transferring me to her, although I kept saying, I want to speak to someone other than LaDonna. I want to escalate this beyond her. I explained to them what was happening. And then the overarching issue is I was calling to shop my homeowner's insurance policy. Because, one of the agents had said to me, well, we may be able to, I go through Goosehead Insurance. Goosehead found Allstate, the price for Allstate. So when I had called Goosehead for another issue, the agent that I spoke to said, oh, well, Mr. Stewart, I noticed that your homeowner's insurance is pretty expensive. Would you like for me to transfer you to a different department? Maybe they can shop you a better rate. I said, sure. Get over to the new company. They're telling me, oh, well, Mr. Stewart, your property is only 1,400 square feet. Looks like Allstate is charging you for 2,500 square feet. Are you aware of that? And I said, I had no idea. And so he said, yeah, you might want to contact them. So I called Allstate. And again, forgive me, I don't remember what month it was. It was either the end of September or the beginning of October. And I called, there was a gentleman whose name I do not recall. He said to me, this is the first person who said to me from Allstate, he said, oh, wow, Mr. Stewart, yeah, I see what happened. I think the agent who rewrote your policy, he said, I don't know what she did. He said, but she rewrote your policy and she added on an additional 1,100 square feet. And he said, it looks like you've been paying over for the past 3 years. He said, let me go ahead and escalate this. He said, what I can do is go ahead and issue a refund for the past year. He said, the past year is about $2,800. And I said, okay. So then time went by. I'm in the process of moving. At the time, I ended up closing on another property. Long story short, weeks went by because my mind was just someplace else. And then I called back, and everybody that I spoke to, nobody seems to understand what I was calling about. They kept saying, oh, well, we issued a refund back in whatever month it was for $613. I said, ma'am, that had nothing to do with what I'm calling about. That was related to, I think the pricing had changed or something like that, and that's why I got a refund. So then I said, well, that has nothing to do with it. So then they finally found the notes where it was 2,100. They kept telling me it was 2,100. I said, well, the gentleman that I spoke to said it was about 2,800, and I still overpaid by 2 other additional years. Where is it in the process of the escalation? No one seemed to know. They bounced me from one agent, one department to another. And so I think Tuesday of this week, I called and I was on the phone for 3 hours. It was from about 10:30 in the morning until later that afternoon, but it was literally 3 hours. And I was so frustrated because they kept bouncing me from one department to the next. One agent said they didn't know what I was talking about, and I kept saying, well, are you all not looking at the notes? Clearly this gentleman, the very first gentleman, wrote the notes because he said, Mr. Stewart, let me document this so when you call in, anybody reading this will know what you're talking about. You won't have to explain this over and over. He was the only one that really exemplified or demonstrated great customer service. So this whole idea that your slogan is you're in good hands with Allstate, it's completely nonsense. It really is. It's laughable at this point. So I finally got to LaDonna because she had left me a voicemail and she had sent me an email. And so I called her back the next day because by the time I got her voicemail, it was late in the evening. So I called her the next day and I spoke with her on the phone. And so it was almost like she was just ready. And she said, well, I got your voicemail and blah, 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 blah. And she went into this whole thing about we're investigating, Mr. Stewart, you have to understand it takes 5 to 6 business days. I said, ma'am, I've been calling you all for about a month. She said, no, you actually called us on the 27th. I said, I don't care about what you all documented on the 27th of October. I have been calling for weeks at this point. And I said, the bottom line is you all owe me for 3 years of overpayments, and I still haven't gotten the 2,100. You all are saying that it's now 2,100 and not 28. I still haven't gotten that. And I said, why can't you all Zelle it? Why do you have to mail me a check? Why can't you Zelle the money? And so she said, well, as I tried to explain, it's going to take 5 to 6 days. And she just went on this whole spiel that she had. I said, ma'am, you know what? I don't even want to speak to you anymore. I'd like to escalate bill. She said, well, and I don't remember her exact words. Like I said, if you listen to the voicemail, but she pretty much said there is no one else to speak to. I'm trying to give you that information. If you stop over talking me, I can give you that information. I said, well, I've already told you I don't want to speak to you any longer. I said, the only thing that I want you to do is to cancel my policy as of tomorrow. And so she said, well, I can send, she said, and it hasn't been 3 years that we've been overpaying you because I looked at the note. She said, I looked at your policy and it was corrected. I think she said sometime last year. She said, so it wasn't 3 years of overpayments. And I said, well, all of the information that I was given, it was 3 years. And even some of the other agents who finally found it in the notes said, oh yeah, it is 3 years. And they said to me, they said to me, and she said to me, well, I can send you out your policy. She said, it's in your declaration. She said, but I can send it out if you need to reread it. And so I said, whatever it is, I need my pay. So she was just very nasty. And and I know I don't know if you all have a social media team or not, but I host a podcast.
We do.
And I went on my social media and I posted it on every single platform I have. And this is just to give you a little insight. I have hundreds of thousands of people who follow my social media. On my Instagram alone, there are about 2 million people who look at I don't have 2 million followers on Instagram. I have about 55,000 followers, but I have 2 million views on my Instagram every single month. And when I tell you I posted it on my Instagram, you can take a look at it if you'd like. I posted it on my Facebook, I posted it on my Threads, and I posted it on my YouTube channel. And when I tell you the comments that I got from the people, saying that there was even one person who said they had also had an interaction with LaDonna. And I know it wasn't coincidental because that's not a usual name. That's not a everyday name that you hear. Somebody said, oh, I had an interaction with her too. She's very nasty. And so, but the consensus is Allstate doesn't like to pay out claims or reimburse you when they're supposed to or whatever it is. I mean, I've even said that I was going to talk about it on my podcast because I host a podcast because I was just that furious with her. The reason that I got Tom's emails because someone put his email down in the comments. That's how I knew it. I didn't even have to go and dig it up.
Okay.
And they were also saying in the comments, they said you need to go and report it to the insurance commission, which I did. I emailed the insurance commissioner yesterday as well, and I got a response from them saying that they got it and they're looking into it, da-da-da-da. And then I saw your email.
Okay. Thank you very much for taking the time to give me that update and give me your perspective.
No problem.
What I can tell you, sir, is before I called you, I made sure that I understood the journey that you have been on with trying to get this rectified. So I can say, yes, absolutely. It doesn't matter, and I appreciate your perspective that it doesn't necessarily matter the day that LaDonna was brought into your case. From your perspective, you had been working on this and trying to get a resolution for much longer than that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that perspective. I can say that I did look into the case notes with our customer service team. The first note that I see, that doesn't mean that there wasn't a call beforehand, that maybe wasn't documented, but I do see absolutely an early note on October 13th, where you had called and mentioned that you understood that your home was being insured for $2,500 and it should only be $1,400. There were some that representative, I believe, asked you to email some type of documentation.
Yeah.
Yes. That went to our endorsement team that would process a policy change. I 100% think that took way too long for them to address. I can see that it wasn't until October 27th that your policy, yes, absolutely. So I can see your policy was updated for the current policy period to reduce the square footage down to 1,400. I can also confirm that you're absolutely right that you were told that the policy had been wrong for 3 years.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing, that information was not accurate.
Okay.
The representative you spoke with looked at when your policy was first started and used that date. So what had happened was we did reach out to the Goosehead agency to ask them, because their agency is the one that processed in January of 2024.
That's right.
They processed a change to your policy, and they have it noted that you contacted them because you had your basement finished.
Yeah.
I don't know if that rings any bells.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because you had your basement finished, they updated the policy so that it increased the square footage based on the fact that you had a finished basement. And in the event of a loss, of course, in the event, that you suffered a loss in your home, we would expect that you would want to have the basement put back to the way it was as a finished basement and not just a, below ground basement not finished. So that was the reason that they explained to us that they updated your square footage.
And see, when I spoke with the agent who first, it's not an Allstate agent, that I spoke with, who said they're charging you $25 for 2,500 square feet. He said, yeah, but basements aren't factored into, basements and garages aren't factored into square footage.
That is a true statement, unless it's a finished basement or a converted garage where there's actual, real flooring, real sheetrock, furniture, etc. Then it is factored in because it changes. If you were to have suffered a loss, it changes the amount of potential payout to then repair your home to having a finished basement again, or a finished garage. So I don't know if perhaps the person you spoke with just assumed that it was an unfinished basement.
Perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah. I can also tell you that I did listen to the call that you had with LaDonna. And I can absolutely appreciate why you were frustrated. Instead of I could understand why you were frustrated, but that doesn't give LaDonna the permission to match your frustration with her own.
Mm-hmm.
She was here. Her role in this was to help you and take a breath and listen to the feedback that you were trying to share with us. It wasn't her place to try and match your energy, if you will. If you had a right to be upset, she did not.
Right.
So we definitely appreciate the feedback that is being shared with LaDonna's direct leader. We are also sharing feedback with that department as a whole, reiterating that if one of our customers requests to speak with a manager and that representative is unable to resolve the issue and our customer still insists on speaking with a manager, they are to honor that request.
And I'm pretty sure I asked about 3 times.
I'm sure, yes, you absolutely did. You absolutely did. So that is feedback that is absolutely going to be shared not only with LaDonna's direct leader, but now, as I understand it, when you called back a couple of times to try and get transferred to somebody else, the representatives you spoke with simply tried to transfer you back to LaDonna.
Yeah, and one of them said, LaDonna is who you need to speak to, and she just transferred me.
Okay. Yeah, so we will be reiterating, because that is our standard process.
Yeah.
We do have a path for a consumer that's not satisfied to speak with a manager, especially when the concern is over the soft skills of our employee, the way that you were spoken with. That is 100%. You should have been able to speak to somebody else, and I apologize for that.
I appreciate it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So I will say, I just want to reiterate that also in listening to the phone call with LaDonna, you did formally ask for your policy to be canceled, and it was canceled. So I just want to make sure that was something that you wanted.
Yes. The other thing I was going to say, in terms of with the basement piece, even still, the square footage still isn't 2,500.
Okay.
That's still an overestimation of the square footage of the basement, because the basement is only about 800 square feet.
Okay, I see. Okay. So what I can do, the policy is terminated now, and as I understand it, that is your wish, and you don't have an interest, I'm assuming, in us reinstating your policy and try.
Oh shit! God damn it! I hate when these people be trying to call me.
This is Christine.
Hi, Christine. I'm sorry. Somebody was trying to click on my line. I was trying to send her.
Oh no, no worries. I was just about to hit redial. So where I left off, I'm not sure what you heard, but I just want to make valid. You do not have a desire for us to reinstate your policy in order for Allstate to retain your business, for you to give us another chance.
I really appreciate
and
you
if that's
calling.
Not.
Because I have spoken with another carrier. What would my insurance rate be at this point?
Okay, so let's see. Because your policy right before it was terminated, we did update it and we reverted back to the original square footage of 1,400 based on the proof that you sent. Yes. Now, of course, I want to make sure, if you decide to come back to Allstate, I do want to make sure that you have the right coverage.
Right.
And whether that's 1,400 square feet or 2,000 square feet, we just want to make sure that you have enough coverage in the event of a loss. However, what I can tell you is, let's see here. Okay, so for your 2025 policy period, which with the lower square footage, the 1,400 square feet, the total annual premium is $3,775.99.
Okay. Yeah.
So
No.
if we were, go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say no. I found another carrier that beats that, so I'm gonna just stick with that.
Okay. All right, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to, to ask because we would absolutely have loved to retain your business, but I completely understand if you were able to find a better price elsewhere. That's no worries. So then the other piece is, if it would be helpful, I'm prepared to retroactively update the policy back to January of 2024. So that it's reflective of the original square footage of 1,400, the way the policy was originally written, and then further refund that to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I really appreciate. Most importantly, I really want you to understand that I appreciate you picking up the phone and calling me. I really do, because when I was speaking to her the other day, I really felt like there was no way around her. And like I said, when I posted this across my social media, there were so many people who were like, you need to get in touch with Tom. And then they mentioned some other guy. I can't remember his name, but I sent him put him in the email as well. But like, it just was not okay the way that she spoke. You know what I mean? And I know you recognize that and you've said that, but I really hope that there's some real coaching that happens for her, because that just was unacceptable. It really, just think about the customers who won't write a letter, or the customers who won't call in, or who don't have a platform on social media. You know what I mean? So, I just think that was really unacceptable. But I appreciate you calling. I
completely agree with you.
And I appreciate you making it retroactive. I have a different address, and I can give you that address.
That would be great. I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
With the amount of refund you can be expecting, if you'd prefer I give you a call, I could do that. It's completely up to you.
The email is fine. You can put it in the email. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. And then, of course, if there's anything after I send that email or that you think of that you need assistance with, please hold on to my number and just give me a call if you need any additional help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Stewart, thank you again for bringing this to our attention. I sincerely apologize, and I hope maybe in the future you can give Allstate another chance.
Thank you. Your apology is accepted. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. You have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Let that be a lesson in writing a letter and going to corporate and making your voice heard. Like, I've been saying this forever. Like, it is not necessary to show your ass in a place. Now, of course, this was over the phone, but even if this was a situation in a store, like, so often I see people carrying on in a store, breaking character, getting out of character, all because an employee or an associate is being an asshole. And the bottom line is, you'll end up looking crazy, because if you're in a place of business, they ain't gonna do nothing but call the police on you, call security. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't make any sense. So the way to fight that is to document it, and then just, and here's another thing. As I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and one of the things that happens too is, because there have been instances where I couldn't find management, you go over there on LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn and you look up who the CEO, president, or whatever is of whatever company that you're looking for. And then you research that way, and then you email them.
We wanted them to check for VD.
For VD.
And what were you in? I was in my phone. Where would they take your ass down into that welfare? Use a dummy, bitch.
Calling all pin mob. Calling all Pin Mob. Honey, the fags are going international. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. August 5th through the 9th, 2026, PhagTawlk Live in Antigua will be going down, baby. Get your tickets at www.PhagTawlkinternational.com. I need y'all to know, honey, that this is one of those trips that you don't want to miss. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going on an all-inclusive resort and spa situation, bitch, at the Royalton, honey, down there in Antigua.
I'm not too sure where Antigua is, but the Pin Mob, we're going to Antigua. Make sure you have your passport, make sure it's up to date, and be sure to get the travel insurance just in case something happens, because life happens. The spots are moving quickly. Do not wait until the last minute. You have an entire year to pay this trip off, so do yourself a favor. Treat yourself to a good time and meet us in Antigua for PhagTawlk Live.
And for my rich bitches, add on the rich bitch option to include a full day with us as we tour the island, and who knows what else we gonna get into. God damn it, don't meet me down there to the ticket place. Beat me at the ticket place. That's right, girl. Honey, meet us down there to www.PhagTawlkinternational.com, honey. Low deposit and payment plans are available.